Looking to throw. Huskers send a blitz. He's hit. And it's fumbled. The ball's out. This is bounced up in the air and picked off. Intercepted by Miles Farmer's second INT of the game. And the Huskers in the red zone with a chance to grab the lead.
I'm Jayson Jorgensen. Glad to have you along for another edition of HuskerChat, brought to you by Newcomb Diesel of Kearney, as we are joined by the publisher of HuskerOnline, Sean Callahan. Sean, as always, thanks a lot for the time. I wish we had better things to talk about, but unfortunately on Saturday, that was not the Huskers' day against Northwestern.
Yeah, can we just break down the 2-0 Loper record right now instead of the 0-2 Nebraska record? But yeah, it was tough in Northwestern. You know, Jayson, I don't think people are necessarily totally surprised Nebraska lost. They were underdog, but I think it was the manner they lost. People can accept a loss that you play well and fight and compete, but Nebraska lost, should have won, and did not play well and made a lot of mistakes. And that's obviously the frustration point, I think, for a lot of people when they watch this team.
You wrote about it. It's disheartening to see that a lot of the same problems that Nebraska's had in the past continue to rear up. You had a great stat, I thought, on your radio report that we have, that every offensive lineman for the Huskers had at least one penalty on Saturday. That's not good football.
Yeah, all five linemen either had a holding or a lineman false start. Northwestern was doing a lot of pre-snap moving and yelling out things before the snap, and I think it just disrupted the timing. But I think some of it, too, is the quarterback play. Martinez has been a little slower with just decisions and moving the offense at the efficiency it needs to go at, and that has to improve because I think it trickles down to all levels of the team. It hurts the special teams when you get the penalties and the offense is not running, because then they have less field to punt, and it's harder to give your defense better field position in those situations. And you can just go down and down the line, the ripple effect those mistakes have, and Martinez's decision making just being a tick slow, I think has been a problem as well.
Coach Scott Frost said all the right things, I thought, during his press conference in terms of the quarterback situation. But how do you see this eventually shaking out between Martinez and McCaffrey?
Yeah, I think right now I wouldn't be surprised at all if they go to McCaffrey on Saturday. I think it's going to be a situation where they both could play, and they know they need them both. But I think Scott Frost is going to play it fairly close to the vest. He was a former quarterback, as we know. There was a time in 96 and even early 97 where fans wanted Frankie London to be the starter over Scott Frost, if you remember. And he got booed in Memorial Stadium against Central Florida in 97. So he understands what it's like to be Adrian. And I think he's given the kid more rope to try to navigate through it. And we'll see where it goes. But to me, what I see is the decision making. When McCaffrey got in there, it was 1, 2, 3, throw. I mean, just so quick thinking, a quick blinker that you have to be. And I don't feel like we see that. I feel like with Martinez right now, you know, he just is a tick slow on decisions and kind of what he wants to do. He was 9 of 23, for example, with no pressure on him. So meaning Northwestern was not blitzing and he was able to make those throws. And that should be much higher. But, you know, Northwestern had a good defense, Jayson, as well, and you got to give them credit. Scott Frost said this week they'll probably be statistically the best defense in the Big Ten.
Now, there were some bright spots. Folks have been calling for and wanting to see some of the freshmen receivers, and Marcus Fleming had himself a nice game.
Yeah, Marcus Fleming, Xavier Betts, both got a lot of reps. But, yeah, you go to Fleming, it was kind of like, all right, line up over here and run this route and catch the football. I mean, they just put him out there and let him go. And, you know, he was a kid that went home for a little bit in August, came back to campus. I think he battled some homesickness issues a little bit at times, like those Miami kids did this pandemic offseason. But you see the talent. He was the leading receiver, Jayson, on the 8A state championship team in Florida, Miami Northwestern. So he is a very accomplished football player at a high level. And it's a matter of just getting him acclimated to Nebraska, the playbook, and you saw what he could do once he's out there.
How about on the defensive side of things? Luke Reimers looks like an impact player for the Huskers for a while.
Yeah, it's amazing. Luke Reimer almost fell to the FCS ranks. He was going to go to South Dakota State on a full ride, turned that down to walk on at Nebraska, got a scholarship immediately this winter. So he really only had to pay his tuition for about one semester in Lincoln, and then he went officially on in the fall. But you look at what he did, led Nebraska in tackles, had a strip sack. They didn't recover the fumble, but he was an impact guy. He made what's called 6 stop tackles, meaning tackles of high impact that the defense won the down on. And I thought that was really telling, just the impact he made in his first game. You talk about those stop tackles. Over 2 games, he now leads Nebraska in that category, according to Pro Football Focus. And he didn't play the first game, so he definitely is a guy that's going to be fun to watch.
Well, how about this one with Penn State? I don't think anyone thought, the Nittany Lions would come in here 0-3. Of course, they had that bad luck in the opening week of the season, losing to Indiana. And you really have to question what their mindset will be coming in, because this was a team that started the year ranked in the top 10, and they don't have a whole lot to play for right now.
Yeah, they lost a lot of guys to the NFL. Journey Brown opted out or is not playing, the running back. Obviously, Micah Parsons, the number 1 defensive prospect in the NFL draft boards, decided not to play. So they've had some key guys opt out this year. And then on top of that, they don't have a lot of experience to handle the adversity. So you lose in a real controversial fashion, because you could argue Michael Penix Jr. did not get in on that 2-point conversion, and they might have won that game, and they're 1-0. And they played Ohio State fairly tough in that game. But then last week, that was just so uncharacteristic for a James Franklin team to not only lose to Maryland, but get blown out. We have not seen a loss like that at Penn State under James Franklin in a long time, maybe his first year. So that did get your attention, and I'll be curious. I mean, it's one of those games, if Nebraska were to have some success early, jump on them a little bit if they could. You wonder if Penn State can withstand that.
All right, well, we'll see what happens on Saturday morning. Sean, as always, thanks a lot for your time.
Thanks, Jayson.
And that was Sean Callahan, the publisher of HuskerOnline, joining us once again with another edition of Husker Chat. We're here every week. It's brought to you by Newcomb Diesel of Kearney. I'm Jayson Jorgensen.